Okay, we'll just start in just a minute. Hare Krishna's Gora.
Hari-bol.
Okay, why don't we go ahead and start? Nice to see everybody here today. Vinayak and Krishna Krona is in the other room. Go ahead and start. Gora Graganya Gana Gotra Goloruharam Goranga Gudatama Gopyata Kolpa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshikavaram Satatam Namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachia Dile Kakola Kahe Premananda Hemona Goranga Hridoya Dariya Bola Bhaja Goranga Kaha Goranga Laha Gorangira Namure Jai Jana Goranga Bhaje Se Hoyamara Prana Re Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yashaiva Parambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema-bhakti-candrika Parama Pumarta Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madhgavirapi Gopala Srikaryat Kripaya Jari Tadaiva Sambhaya Pidvaha Rishayustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasantana Rupaka Gopala Raghunathapta Brajabala Bapahimam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We can recite this verse from Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's prayers to Narottam Das Thakur. Shiva Chandra Prabhadvasta Tamo Barayam Gauranga Deva Anucharaya Namo Namah Srila Narottamaya. Again and again I offer my obeisances unto Srila Narottam Das Thakur. He is indeed a true follower of Lord Gauranga Deva. The nectarian shower of the holy name of Krishna radiating from the moon of his mouth destroys the darkness of ignorance. So it's such a beautiful verse that there's this Amrit coming out of the mouth of Srila Narottam Das Thakur, but it's not just coming out, it's coming out like a barshi, like a shower, like a barsha. Barsha means like a thunderstorm. And it's Amrit, meaning something which gives life. And Amrit also means something which is very, very tasty. And this barsha is not just a barsha of ordinary rain, but he says Chandra Prabha, that he's just like the moon. And it's coming from the moon of his mouth. So that indicates there's a Namamrita Barshi shower of nectar coming from the moon of his mouth. And the moon is very famous because it gives taste to the vegetables. And so the nectar of the taste that Narottam Das Thakur has for the holy name and the nectar of his writing, which is expressing that taste, is just like a thunderstorm coming of moon rays, which gives taste to us and also gives us life. And tamo bharaya, it destroys the darkness of ignorance. So he says, Namo Namaha Shiva Narottamaya. I offer my obeisances to him again and again. So we're continuing with Prema-bhakti-candrika, and we're still on the fourth song, Yugala Bhajan Nishta, speaking about what is undivided service to the divine couple. And in our last session, we spoke on text number 6. Why don't I go ahead and put that on the board here? Kanaka ketaki roy shama mara kati kai dharapa karuchura nata mada-śikhaṇḍi natire saromini dūṅhu guni dūṅhu manajura. So he speaks about how Srimati Radharani is a golden complexion. She resembles, they translate the golden pine flower. That's an interesting way to describe a kataki flower. It's a little thorny, but it's not exactly like a pine. But in how Shama Mara Katakai, he's just like a bluish gem. And Dharapa, Karuchura, they defeat the pride of everyone in this material world. They're the topmost dancers. And he speaks about dūṅhu, gune dūṅhu mana, jura. Mana means the jewels. That the qualities that they have, they're dancing like this. They're natabara shikarini also. Shikarini has several different meanings. The translator here gives it the crest jewels. Okay. Their beauty is like that. And so in our last session, we spoke something about the beauty of Radha and Krishna and how we understand that and how that beauty of Radha and Krishna, it's not an ordinary beauty. And that's a little hard for us to understand the meaning of, because as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says in one article, he said it's very difficult for us to understand things which are beyond the senses, because we're using the senses to understand those things. And the senses themselves are the guna, or the ropes, which bind us to this material world. So it's very difficult for us to understand the transcendental beauty of Radha and Krishna, but it's a very extremely important subject. In our last session, we spoke quite a bit from Madhya Lila chapter 8, and how Srimati Radharani's beauty is her bhāva. That's a manifestation of her ecstasy. And we spoke something about the different ornaments of Radha and Krishna and how those ornaments are their ecstasies. We're going to continue some of that discussion today. Mostly in our last session, that was Madhya Lila chapter 8, but we also read from Radha-Krishna Ganadashdipika of Rupa Goswami, where he speaks about Radharani's tilak, which is called Smara Yantra. She has this, Smara means to remember. Yantra is this decoration or ornament. She has this ornament, which is her remembrance of Krishna, and that's our tilak. Om Keshavaya Namaha. We put Keshava on our forehead. I think I mentioned in the last session, Keshava is a public person because Keshava is a name for Lord Vishnu, and Vishnu is a public worship that we do. But Keshava is also a name for Krishna, and it's a little more private, and it's an inner meaning of it. But we put that on our forehead, and it has a double meaning. But that's Radharani. She has a Smara Yantra. That's her tilak. She has her necklace, which is Hari-manohara. Hari-manohara means that the necklace and the support of the necklace on her body, which supports the necklace. Hari-manohara steals the mind of Krishna. And we spoke of something about her earrings and a pearl in her nose, etc. So we're going on to the 7th, and I think I'm going to include the 8th verse also in this 4th song. Let's go ahead and put this on the board now. This is Narottam Thakur. Shri Mukha Sundara Brada Hema Nila Kantidara Bhava bhūṣaṇa Koro Shobha Nila Pita Basada Gori Shama Manohara antarera bhāve dūṅhu lobhā. So he's speaking something about the mukh, or the face of Radha and Krishna. And he doesn't just say that it's a mukh, but it's a Shri mukh. In Indian culture, we always address ladies as Srimati, we address a man as Shriman. We have a perverted reflection of that. In America, we call the gentlemen, we call them sir, Mr. And the ladies, we address them as ma'am. And that's a cultural aspect of respect. But in the language of ancient India, every word has very deep meaning. And Shri indicates Lakshmi Devi, again, has an external and a more internal meaning. Shri indicates Lakshmi Devi. It indicates some opulence. It indicates some respect. But Shri also means Sarva Angsani Radhika. Shri Mukh, that their blessed mouth, their blessed face, the Sundara Bhara, it's extremely beautiful. It's not just Sundara, but it's Sundara Bhara. Very, very beautiful. Hemanila Kantidara. And again, he mentions their complexions. And as we've mentioned, described in our last couple of sessions, Narottam Thakur now, he's speaking from his ecstatic revelation. He's seeing the divine couple. And although that sounds very esoteric, that sounds very, very high, and indeed, of course, it is, but in another sense, that's the essence of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And Krishna says this thing in Bhagavad Gita, the Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, the topmost knowledge, the topmost thing is that thing which is pratyaksha bhagamam dharmyam, something which we realize. And that's the real purpose of Krishna consciousness. And that's a distinguishing factor between it and mundane religions, that there's some revelation, there's something to be seen. And then he speaks about what is the bhūṣaṇa of Srimati Radharani and Krishna, which he says that bhūṣaṇa karo shobha. It beautifies them. What is that bhūṣaṇa? It's their bhāva. Bhāva bhūṣaṇa karo shobha. So this is a very, very deep, very, very important point, which we're going to try to speak on a little today. One of our main points in this verse, I'm just going to touch on it to introduce things now, that in Krishna consciousness, it's the bhāva, which is the bhūṣaṇa. It's not the gyan, it's not the musical ability, the ability to cook, or the ability to speak nicely and charm people, or the beauty of one's physical body, but it's the bhāva, which is the bhūṣaṇa of Radha and Krishna. So we're hearing more of what we were speaking of in our last session, a little more explicitly. Nila Pitta Basadar Gauri Shama Manohara. And then he says how Radha and Krishna, Nila Pitta Basadar, they're dressed in this nila, this bluish sari, and a pitta, a golden dhoti, Gauri Shama Manohara. This, and he speaks of Krishna and Radharani in terms of colors. Gauri Shama Manohara, and how they enchant the mind, Manohara, because of their colors, because bhava bhūṣaṇa karo shobha. Their bhāva is their ornaments. Their bhāva is their colors. And we spoke something about in our last session. We'll touch on a little bit more again here. Antarera bhāve dūṅhu lobhā. And what is it that attracts them to each other? It's the antarera bhāva. It's that internal bhāva, that internal mood. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in both Harinam Chintamani and in Chaitanya Siksamrita, he speaks about two basic divisions of persons, or those who are antarmukh janas and bahirmukh janas. The bahirmukh janas, mukha again means the face, bahir means external. Those persons whose faces are turned externally. And that's our condition in this material world, where our faces are turned away from the Lord and we're looking toward material nature. As sometimes we quote some song that I used to hear on the radio when I was a young boy. The boys watch the girls and the girls watch the boys as the world goes by. That's the nature of the material world. We're always having our face turned externally, looking for mundane beauty in this world. And ultimately what we're looking for is the beauty of Radha and Krishna. But because we're bahirmukh, we're external, we're never satisfied. We don't really find that. So here Narottam says, antarera bhāve dūṅhu lobhā. Bhaktivinoda says the other type of person is the antarmukh jana. The same word is here, antarera. Antar means internal. Those persons who are looking internally. And therefore we see that in Vedic culture, in high-class culture, marriage wasn't simply based upon physical attraction, but they would look to see the similar interests, the similar bhāva, antarera bhāva, which is the most important thing. And in really high-class culture, they everything was about developing devotion in the culture, including having children, including getting their children married, so that they'll be Krishna conscious and their faces will be antarmukh, be turned inward toward Krishna, the antarera bhāva. And so this is the attraction Radha and Krishna have for each other, the lobhā. And both of them, dūṅhu lobhā, they're attracted by the inner bhāva of each other. This is a most high-class culture. And then in text 8, Narottam Das Thakur, he goes on to say, Abharana mani moya prati angi abhinoya tachupayadina Narottam Das. Nishidina guna gana pradama anandapana mani mora e abhilash. Narottam says, mani mora e abhilash. This is the desire of my mind, or the translator says here, it's my only desire, which is a bona fide translation, not a literal translation, but it's a bona fide translation because whatever my mind is fixed on, that's all that there is for me. Abharana mani moya. So he's meditating, he's seeing now in his ecstatic vision, he's seeing how Radha and Krishna, they have these wonderful ornaments, and they're acting just like actors on a stage. And Narottam Das Thakur, who addresses himself as Dina Narottam Das, or the fallen Narottam Das, he's praying that may I see you Nishi Dina Gunagan, day and night. May I see, may I understand your qualities, Gunagan. Parama Ananda Pan. Pana means to drink. Here it says to receive, but it means to drink. May I just drink that nectar of Radha and Krishna constantly. Mani mora e abhilash. This is the only desire that I have. So the bhava bhūṣaṇa, the ornaments of their bhāva, antarera bhāve dūṅhu lobhā, they attract each other by their inner moods of love. So in our last session, we spoke about how Radha and Krishna, their beauty is their bhāva. Their beauty is themselves. That's the reality. But only those persons who are antarmukh can see that. Those persons who are bahirmukh, they just see this external world of names. There's a famous story, I think most of you, maybe all of you know of Shyamananda Prabhu, and how he was instructed by his guru, Hridoy Chaitanya Prabhu, that he should go and take shelter of Srila Jiva Goswami in Vrindavan. And he went to Vrindavan, and Jiva Goswami instructed him that he should daily do some service. He should sweep the Rasastali, the place where the Ras Lila goes on. And that's the nature of Guru. When someone comes to do Dham Parikrama, their Guru, they engage him in service in the Dham. Not just that we go to the Dham and bring our Western mentality of television, movie madness, where we just want to try to enjoy everything, but we're engaged in service in the Dham. That Dham seva is very, very important. So Shyamananda Prabhu came there, and he was sweeping every day, and as he was sweeping, he was crying and remembering the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And one day he found a nupur, an ankle bracelet, a golden ankle bracelet. But it wasn't just an ordinary golden ankle bracelet, it was glowing with some ecstatic effulgence. And when Shyamananda Prabhu touched it, as soon as he touched it, he became full of ecstasy. And you may recall the story. Shortly after, a very, very beautiful girl came. And the devotees in the Shyamananda Parivar line of Shyamananda Prabhu tell the story in a couple different ways. I'll just tell it both. That some say it was Lalita who came, and others say that it was Srimati Radharani personally. Either way, this beautiful girl came, and she said that we lost this ankle bracelet last night. Do you have that? And Shyamananda Prabhu could understand it was no ordinary ankle bracelet. And although this young girl appeared to ordinary eyes to be like an ordinary young girl, Shyamananda Prabhu could understand that the ankle bracelet's not ordinary, and this girl must not be ordinary either. He said, no. And he told Lalita, I'm not going to give it to you. You have to have your mistress come, and I'll give it to her. And Srimati Radharani then came, and they say that Srimati Radharani took that ankle bracelet, that nupur, and pressed it to the head of Shyamananda Prabhu, and therefore that became their tilak. That's why they have this roundish kind of tilak in the Shyamananda line. And Shyamananda became so ecstatic. So that story helps us understand this particular point, that bhāva bhūṣaṇa, the ornaments of Radha and Krishna, are their bhāv, literally. And that nupur coming from the lotus foot of Srimati Radharani, it's not an ordinary thing. That's her personified ecstasy, her personified love for Krishna. And the fact that Shyamananda Prabhu found that is indicative of the fact that he was a recipient of the great mercy of Srimati Radharani. So I'd like to go a little now to Mathura meets Vrindavan from my Guru Maharaj and share with you a few comments that he made, because this verse is speaking about Nila Pita Basadara, about how Radha and Krishna, they're dressed in a bluish sari, and Krishna wears a golden dhoti, and Narottam says, Gauri Shama Manohara. They have this particular complexion. So Guru Maharaj called the complexion of love. And reading this, he says, therefore there's aikya, a feeling of oneness. Radharani always thinks of Krishna, and Krishna always thinks of Radharani. This very intense thought in the heart is oneness. And then their external complexion comes. You can recognize this from their garments. Radharani's garment is a blue sari, nila vasana. Krishna's complexion is nilamani, like a blue gem. He is ujjula nilamani, with a complexion like a brilliant blue gem. Because nilamani, Krishna is there in her heart, therefore Radharani's sari is blue. Radharani is in the heart of Krishna. Tapta kanchana gaurangi. Radharani's bodily hue is a color of molten gold. Therefore, pita vasana, Krishna's garment, is a yellow dhoti. Krishna's pitambara dhara, pita vasana dhara, one who wears yellow garments. The internal feeling in the heart is expressed externally in the form of garments. This indicates who is there in the heart. This is pranaya. So this is not like an ordinary love song. where the the singer speaks about the beauty of her face and her hair and this and that, but it's bhava bhūṣaṇa. And antarera bhāve, dūṅhu lobhā. Radha and Krishna attract each other by their inner moods of love. And because of that love, that inner mood of love, it manifests on the outside. Nila Pita Basadara. Narottam says that Radharani has bluish garments on because Krishna is bluish. And in the heart of Radharani is Krishna. And Krishna wears a pitambara dhoti, a golden colored dhoti, because Radharani is Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. And Radharani is in his heart, so that manifests in the form of his class. So Narottam says, Nila Pita Basadara. That I'm seeing this dress of Radha and Krishna, which is antarera bhāve dūṅhu lobhā. They're attracting each other by their inner moods, and therefore Gauri 𝗗𝗲𝗃. They're attracting his mood, but his mind, but it's their colors which are attracting him. But it's not just their ordinary colors. Those colors are the manifestations of their love. It gives me some thought about a Patachitra art and art in general in India. I posted something for those of you who have the misfortune, perhaps, of being on Facebook. I posted a picture yesterday, which I had found in some museum library, museum gallery that I was looking online. This is a picture right here. And this is a picture of some artists who are making Gaurachana, one form of Gaurachana. They're making yellow dye, yellow color, from the gobar of the cows. And the explanation that was given on the museum site, which is from the Delhi Museum of Art, is that previously they used to feed the cows the yellow sunflower seeds, and that yellow color would come to their dung and their urine, and then they would collect it and they would cook that down, and that would become the color. So that's and if you see here in this picture, the yellow colored gopi here, girl, and the young man here too, this yellow color is coming directly from the gobar, from the cow dung. And then those colors are very earthy. Those colors have great emotion, great feeling. That's art in traditional India. And all the arts begin with Radha and Krishna. They're the crest jewel of all arts. So we're hearing something about the bhūṣaṇa, the ornaments of Radha and Krishna. Krishna has, as we read something last time about Srimati Radharani's jewelry and how all those different ornaments that she has. She has a necklace called Hari-manohara, which attracts the mind of Krishna. She has this tilak, which is her mental manifestation. So Krishna similarly has a kaustubha jewel on his body. And Radharani, she has the Shamantaka jewel. That Shamantaka jewel has some connection with Jagannath Puri. That's another subject matter. And we hear about how Mother Yashoda, she's decorating Krishna's body with different ornaments and things, and how the gopis sometimes they complain to Mother Yashoda that you're Gopal, that he's coming and he's stealing our mukkan and things at night, and this is very, very bad. And we tried to hide them in the dark. But the problem is that he has all these jewels on him, and those jewels are very effulgent. And so you should take off those jewels so that we can hide our milk products. And Mother Yashoda starts to do that, and the gopis' hearts sink because they can't tolerate not seeing the ornaments on Krishna. And again, what are the ornaments on Krishna? The ornaments on Radha and Krishna is bhava bhūṣaṇa. Their ornaments are bhāva. Their ornaments are their personified love for each other. So Krishna has these ornaments. He especially has a kaustubha jewel, and he has different jewels and things which Mother Yashoda and different gopis give him. But ultimately, all of those are manifestations of his love for Srimati Radharani. And the gopis naturally are so ecstatic to see Krishna like that. They want to see Krishna decorated with the love of Srimati Radharani. They may not be consciously thinking that, but that's the ecstasy they experience, seeing the ornaments on Krishna's body. So when Mother Yashoda started, oh, I'm sorry, I'll take the jewels off. No, 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 don't do that. They can't tolerate thinking of that. And then they said, in any way, it's not going to do any good, because he's also so effulgent himself. Indeed, he's so effulgent that he gives a beauty to those ornaments. The Bhagavatam describes. In the same way, the Sakhis and the Manjaris, they decorate Srimati Radharani's beautiful body with different ornaments. And we'll hear something more about that later on in this discussion today from one very old song. How Srimati Radharani wears bluish ornaments, because that's a manifestation of her love for Krishna. As Narottam is saying in the song, bhāva bhūṣaṇa, their ornaments are their bhāva. And antarera bhāve dūṅhu lobhā, that's what attracts them to each other, is that internal love that they have for each other. So there's so many different descriptions given by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in Govinda Lilamrita, Rupa Goswami is described in different places. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and other acharyas have described how the gopis are dressing, the gopis and manjaris are dressing Srimati Radharani, and how Krishna has Ratak and Patrak, his servants, who we may think, oh, being a servant to Krishna, that's not as good as being a cowherd boy, it's like second best. But that service that they do is a very, very dear service. Ultimately, all the services in Braj are connected with Radha and Krishna. And even even the Sakya Ras, because the cowherd boys, they're going to the forest, and as they're in the forest, Krishna's playing with them, and Krishna says, oh, I'm tired now, we should all rest. And then they all start resting, and then Krishna slips away with Madhu Mangal to go to meet with Radharani and the gopis. And so that going with the cowherd boys facilitates that. Krishna goes and he spends his time with Radharani. If he can't leave, he can't tell Mother Yashoda, I'm going to go spend my day with Radharani, but he can go with the boys. And so that's the natural culmination of it. And then Krishna comes back at the end of the day, and the gopis are watching him from the rooftops, seeing Krishna come with the gopis. And Krishna has another type of ornaments on his body at that time. He has a goduli, the auspicious dust from the cows all over his body. And he's so beautiful, so wonderful. The gopis just faint in ecstasy upon seeing him. And then Krishna comes home, Mother Yashoda bathes him. And again, Ratak and Patrak, or Mother Yashoda directly, they dress him. And Ratak and Patrak, by doing that dressing, they're doing service for Srimati Radharani. What kind of dress are they putting on Krishna? They're putting a golden dhoti on Krishna. They're putting ornaments and things which are going to give a statement to Srimati Radharani that Krishna is always thinking of you. And then Krishna has his meal, and there's some entertainment. He has some jugglers and magicians and different things. And then Krishna takes rest, but he doesn't take rest. And he goes out to see the gopis, and he spends the evening with Srimati Radharani, and he comes back at 4 o'clock in the morning. So the gopis wake him up at 4:30 in the morning, and that's the beginning. That's the meaning of our Mangal Artik. They begin to offer some deep, which that deep is a manifestation of their love for Radha and Krishna, and they offer some dhup, some incense, which is a manifestation again of their love for them. And then Srimati Radharani's monkey comes running in, and she says that Jatila's coming, and Radha and Krishna, and they're shocked, oh, we have to go. And they go running, and in their haste, they put on their Krishna takes Radharani's blue shawl and puts that on himself, and Radharani takes Krishna's golden shawl and puts that on her, and they go home. And then Krishna lays down, and 5 minutes later, Mother Yashoda comes to wake him up, and she's surprised, why are you so tired? He hasn't slept at all. And then she sees all the marks on his body, different marks of love and things from Srimati Radharani. And Mother Yashoda says, oh, those cowherd boys, they're being very rough with you. So that Sakya Ras, facilitates the Madhurya Ras. And Mother Yashoda in Nanda Maharaj's love facilitates the Madhurya Ras. And Ratak and Patrak, their service facilitates the Madhurya Ras. Krishna has this kaustubha jewel, which is mentioned in the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam, kaustubha vyapadeshena swapna jyotir bhibhacha jaha. That the kaustubha jewel, vyapadeshena swapna jyotir, represents the pure spirit soul. And Sridhar Swami, in his Bhavarta Deepika, explains that the kaustubha gem's real identity is the consciousness of the living entity. And this is significant because Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has given a beautiful, amazing story called Swapni Vilas. And maybe some of you heard us speak this before. One day, Radha and Krishna are sitting together, and Radharani has her head on Krishna's lap, and she falls asleep, and she has an amazing dream. And she wakes up from the dream, and she's confused. She's looking around, and she's looking at Krishna, and she says, wait a minute, I had this dream, and I was you, and you were me, but there was someone, there's this golden complexion person, and I don't understand this. What is all of this? And then at that time, Krishna took his kaustubha jewel, and he revealed to Srimati Radharani, and Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains that he touched that jewel, and understanding Krishna's desire, that kaustubha jewel began to glow. Tata deeptam tani saparisaya tad dristam eva tad. And dristam eva tad, it showed the same thing, Vilasam Lakshman Siddhar Chara Ganai Saivam Abhavad. It showed the same thing that Srimati Radharani saw in her dream. And then Srimati Radharani, she said, now I know why you're smiling. Because that golden complexion person is you. But it's also me. And we become one person together. So this is the kaustubha jewel that Krishna wears around his neck. It's it's a personification of the pure spirit soul. Kaustubha vyapadeshana swatma jyoti vibhacha ja. 12th canto of the Bhagavatam says it represents the pure spirit soul. And in that kaustubha jewel, it was like the original television. And Krishna touched that jewel, and in that jewel, then Srimati Radharani saw all these truths in there. So these are the jewels of Radha and Krishna. Bhāva bhūṣaṇa, their ornaments are their personified bhāva. Radharani's necklace is Hari-manohara, that thing which attracts Krishna. And Krishna wears a kaustubha jewel wherein Radharani sees his own pastimes. So then Narottam Das Thakur, he begins singing that Nishi Dishi Guna Gai. Day and night I want to sing the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Krishna says this thing in Padma Purana, Naham tistami vaikunte yoginam hidayeshu cha madbhakta yatra gayanti tatra tistami narada. That he says, Narad, you don't understand. I don't live in Vaikuntha. And Naham tistami vaikunte yoginam hidayeshu. I don't live in the hearts of the yogis. But madbhakta yatra gayanti. I stay in that place where there's Krishna Katha going on, where the devotees are singing about my pastimes. And Krishna, then he comes running to that place. So let's understand a little bit more about the beauty of Krishna. Now I'd like to turn, in our last session, we read some things from Madhya Lila chapter 8. I'd like to read something from Kakati. Thank you very much. I couldn't remember her name. I'd like to read something from Adi Lila chapter 4 of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which describes the beauty of Radha and Krishna and what that beauty is and the significance of it. Adbhuta ananta purna mora madhurima. This is Krishna speaking. He says that my beauty is adbhuta, it's astonishing, it's ananta, it has no limit, it's purna, it's completely full, there's no lacking in it. Mora madhurima. This is my sweetness. Tri jagate iharkeha nahi paya singha. And in all the three worlds, you can't find nahi payastinga, you can't find a limit to that love. But there's one person. A Prema-dvari nitya radhika ekali amara madhurjamrita ashwari shakali. Only Srimati Radharani. She's able to taste that nectar, that madhurjamrita ashwari shakali. Only she can taste all of that. And she can do that, a Prema-dvari, the door, or the way, the means, Prabhupada translate, the means by which she can do that is by her ecstatic love for me. Yajapida nirmala radha rasa prema darpana. And he says that Srimati Radharani's love is a sat prema darpana. And most of you, I think, know my grandma speaks about this quite often. What is the sat prema hridaya darpana? Or the mirror, darpana means a mirror of love. Krishna can't see himself in an ordinary mirror, but when he wants to see himself, he has to go to a special mirror. And that's the Sat Prema Hridaya Darpana, or the mirror on the heart of the Premi Bhakta. Yadyapi Nirmala Radha Sat Prema Darpana. And he says that Radharani's heart is like, her love is like this mirror. And tatapi swachata tada bhadik shani kshana. Every moment, the purity of Radharani's heart is increasing over and over again. Amara madhurja nahi bharite avakashe. And he says that my madhurja, my sweetness, nahi bharite avakashe. There's no limit to that. But at the same time, e darpana age nava nava rupi basi. In the mirror of Radharani's heart, my beauty is manifesting nava nava rupi basi in newer and newer features constantly. Man madhurja radha prema donhe hoda kori kshani kshani bodha donhe keha nahi hari. And he says there's some competition that dona hoda kori. There's some competition between my sweetness and the ecstatic love of Srimati Radharani. So again, the Srimati Radharani's form, Srimati Radharani's ornaments, they're just a personification of love for Krishna. And that love has no limit. It goes on increasing again and again. The more that Krishna's sweetness is there, the more Radharani loves, and the more that Radharani's love manifests, the more Krishna's sweetness manifests. And Krishna goes on to explain this. Amada madhurja nitya nava nava hoy, so suprema anurupa bhakti aswadoy. He says that my sweetness is nava nava. It's newer and newer. And the devotees, they can taste that sweetness. Swasa prema anurupa bhakti aswada. Aswada means to taste or to relish. They're able to taste that according to the nature of their love, their ecstatic love for Krishna. And so then Krishna says that if I see in a mirror myself, darpanadre deki, jadi apana madhurja, just perhaps, jadi means if somehow I see my own sweetness in a mirror, I want to taste it, but I can't. Asaditi nadi. I can't taste it. I have this lobha, this greed to taste it, but I can't. Vichar kori jadi aswada upai radhika surupa hoite tabe manadoy. And so then when I start thinking about a way to taste it, I desire to have the position of Radharani. We hear in Rupa Goswami's Lalita Madhav. Lalita Madhav? I think it's maybe Lalita Madhav, I think. That Narad Muni came once to Dwarka, and they were putting on a drama for the pleasure of Krishna. And Krishna's watching, and he sees an actor playing himself. And Rupa Goswami gives this line, this verse where Krishna says, when he sees himself, he says, seeing this beauty of myself, I desire to have a form like the gopis. because it's the gopis who can fully taste the beauty of Krishna. And Prabhupada writes in his purport, he says that Krishna's attractiveness is wonderful and unlimited. No one can know the end of it. Srimati Radharani alone can relish. Srimati Radharani alone can relish such extensiveness from her position in the Ashraya category. And again, we've spoken a lot of times about how Krishna is Priti Vishray and Radharani is Priti Ashray. These are terms my Guru Maharaj often use. Priti Ashray means the abode of love. Priti Vishray means the subject, the object of love. So both of them are asamurdva. No one can be equal to or greater than Krishna in terms of his position of Priti Vishray. No one can be greater or equal to Srimati Radharani in terms of her position as Ashray. They perfectly complement each other. And one is the Shaktiman, the possessor of energy, and the other is the Shakti. So the mirror of Srimati Radharani's transcendental love is perfectly clear, yet it appears clearer and clearest in the transcendental method of understanding Krishna. In the mirror of Radharani's heart, the transcendental features of Krishna appear increasingly new and fresh. In other words, the attraction of Krishna increases in proportion to the understanding of Srimati Radharani. Each tries to supersede the other. Neither wants to be defeated in increasing the intensity of love. Desiring to understand Radharani's attitude of increasing love, Lord Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Narottam Das Thakur is indirectly indicating this also when he's speaking about how the love of Radha and Krishna is their bhāva. Their ornament is their personified bhāva. So then Krishna quotes this verse from Lalita Mata that we're just speaking about, Krishna speaking this thing in Dwarka. So everybody is attracted by the beauty of Krishna. Even Krishna himself is attracted by that. But Krishna can't taste it. He can't relish that. And therefore, he has to come in the mood of Srimati Radharani, because it's only Srimati Radharani who can fully taste and appreciate the beauty of Krishna. So indirectly, Narottam Das Thakur is speaking as antarera bhāve dūṅhu lobhā, that Radha and Krishna, they're very eager to relish each other's feelings, but it also indicates antarera bhāve dūṅhu lobhā. Another meaning is that the two of them are very eager to relish the heart's feelings of their worshippers. I wonder if I can bring up a cartoon here. There's a friend of mine, Guru Nishta Prabhu, is a disciple of Tripurari Maharaj. He's a brilliant cartoonist. And he made a great cartoon which illustrates this principle very nicely. Let's see. He made a lot of cartoons. There it is. I'll bring this up on the board. This pujari is praying before the deity. And like a lot of times we feel that, we feel like, oh, my Lord, why don't you dance before my eyes? He's thinking like that. And here Mahaprabhu or Nitai is replying, I'm not dancing because I'm bored stiff. And Guru Nisha Prabhu has given a translation from Adila chapter 3. Knowing my opulences, the whole world looks upon me with awe and veneration, but devotion made feeble by such reverence does not attract me. So another meaning of this statement, antarera bhāve dūṅhu lobhā, is that Radha and Krishna, they're very eager to accept not just some incense. Oh, it's nice incense you're offering me today. Or it's a nice lamp. Oh, it's a gold-plated lamp. That's really, really good. We're going to give you 5 stars for that. They don't care about that. The lobhā, the greed they have, the attraction that they have is antarera bhāve dūṅhu. They're attracted by the feelings of their worshipers. And that's a very, very important thing. So all these different ornaments, these are manifestations of Radha and Krishna's personified love. In Krishna Karnamrita, in the beginning of Krishna Karnamrita, in text 8, Bilvamangala Thakur is known as Lila Shuk. He explains about the beauty of Krishna. He says, mada-śikhaṇḍi vibhūṣaṇam. That Krishna has this peacock feathers on his head. But they're not just ordinary peacock feathers. They're mada-śikhaṇḍi vibhūṣaṇam. They're these ornaments. And these peacock feathers, these are intoxicated peacock feathers. They're mada. Because these are the manifestation of Krishna's love for Srimati Radharani. And that's why he's wearing the peacock feather. He's wearing that peacock feather to indicate that he's become a madman for the love of Srimati Radharani. As Narottam is saying, antarera bhāve dūṅhu lobhā. Radha and Krishna are attracted by the internal feelings of each other. And so this manifests in the form of the bhāva bhūṣaṇa. Their ornaments are their bhāv. And even Krishna's peacock feather, mada-śikhaṇḍi vibhūṣaṇam, madana mantara mugda mukambujam, brajavadu nayana yanjana ranshijam, vijayatamama vanmaya jivitam. Let's put this on the board. A very nice verse from Bilvamangala Thakur. He says that Krishna's head is adorned with intoxicated peacock feathers. His lotus face, it bewilders. Madana mantara mugda. Mugda means to bewilder. It bewilders Mohan, Cupid, and the cudgel that the gopis put on him. Krishna is the soul of my words. And this is part of his Mangalacharana prayers that he gives. This madana mantara mugda mukambujam means that he has this lotus face which offers indescribable joy, and it agitates the heart. It agitates the heart of Cupid, and what to speak, it agitates the heart of Srimati Radharani. Cupid becomes so mesmerized that he faints when he sees Krishna's lotus face. And therefore the Bhagavatam is described, the Sakshan Manmata Manmata, in the 32nd chapter, speaking about the Ras Lila, how Krishna is the one who agitates the heart of that person. Manmata, mana means the mind, mata means someone who agitates the mind. That's Cupid. And Krishna is the person, he's manmata manmataha. He's the person who agitates the heart, who's the person who's agitating everybody's heart. Brajavadu nayana anjana ranjitam. That Krishna, he's covered, he has this cudgel, this blackish ornament around his eyes that the gopis put on it. But another meaning of Brajavadu nayana anjana ranjitam is that Krishna's eyes are covered not by cudgel, but his eyes are engulfed by the love of the Brajbadus, the gopis of Vrindavan. They're looking at Krishna. That's the real ornament around Krishna. What anju also means some brilliant movements. And so in that case, you could say that it means that the ladies, the gopis of Braj, they charm him with their glances. So these are all indirect meanings that Narottam Das Thakur is pointing out. And we're hearing something about this bhava bhūṣaṇa, kaustubha, that the real beauty of Radha and Krishna is their ornaments. But what are those ornaments? The ornaments are their bhava. Antarera bhāve dūṅhu lobhā. That's what attracts them to each other. And by indicating that their attraction to each other, he's indicating also that we have this lobhā, that we want to bring Radha and Krishna together. Radha Krishna pranamor yugala kishore jivane marane Gati Arnahi more. Narottam Das Thakur sings that this is my only desire. And so we heard something about the meaning of Krishna's peacock feather and how Krishna's peacock feather, and it's not just 𝗵𝗵𝗃 on his head, but it's mada-śikhaṇḍi. It's a mad peacock feather. It's full of passion. It's intoxicated, his peacock feather, because it's his ornament of love for Srimati Radharani. And we heard about the kaustubha jewel from 𝗗𝗲 Thakur in the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam. Now I'd like to hear a little something about the ornaments of Srimati Radharani. So I want to take you to a song which is written by a poet named Yadunnath Das. Most scholars say that this Yadunnath is probably present at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu based on his songs. They're found in some of the earliest known Gaudiya Vaishnava songbooks like Sankirtanamrita by Dinabandhu Das and Kshanada, which is compiled by an unknown Vaishnava. Sometimes it's attributed to Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. So let's look at this song. This is the words of Srimati Radharani. Ganje Ganju Kaguru Janatare Nadarai Chari Chaduka Nijapati Apade Edai. Let my superiors chastise me if they will, my Guru Janas. Let my husband, he can divorce me. Then that'll just be very good. And if that happens, Nija Chari Chaduka Nijapati. If my husband rejects me, then Apada Edai. Then I'll be able to avoid so many problems. Bala Baluka Padada Loka Tahi Naridar. Let my neighbors speak bad things about me. Na Baluka, na Dakuka, na Jabi Tadaghar. I don't care if they don't ever talk to me, if they don't invite me to their homes. I won't go there. Dharama Karama Joka Tahina Darai Manira Barami Pache Bandure Harai. I don't care. Maybe I don't do my religious duties. I don't care about that. The only thing that I'm concerned about is that manira bharami. Bharami means that my mind is wandering here and there. That my waywardness, the waywardness of my mind, through the waywardness of my mind, I don't lose my beloved. And so then she says, Kalamani Karamala Gantini Bagale Kanuguna Yasami Paribakundale. I'll make a necklace. And what's that? It's going to be a mani karamala, a necklace of precious stones, but they're kalamani karamala. It's a necklace of black precious stones, which the color of Krishna. And Ganti Nibagali, very proudly, very boldly, I'm going to put it around my neck. In other words, I'm going to advertise my attachment for Krishna. And Kanu Guna Yasha Ami Pari Bekundali, I'm going to wear earrings, which are Kanu Guna Yasha. Those kundalas, those earrings, are the glories, the wonderful qualities and fame of Kanu Krishna. Kanu Anuraga Ranga Basana Poriya Deshi Deshi Paramiba Yogini Iha. Then I'm going to put on a saffron garment of my love for Krishna. Kanu Anuraga Ranga Basana Poriya. And then I'll become a sannyasini. Deshi Deshi Paramiba Yogini Iha. And I'll wander about from place to place. So this is Srimati Radharani's inner mood, and to express that, to understand that mood of Srimati Radharani, Krishna himself comes in that mood, and he comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these are the verses we're looking at today from Narottam's Prema-bhakti-candrika. Let's look at them one more time, and I'll go ahead and stop, and if anybody has any comments or anything. Shri Mukha Sundara Vara Hema Nila Kantidara Bhava Bhushan Koro Shobha Nila Pita Basada Gori Shama Manohara Antarera bhāve dūṅhu lobhā. The enchanting faces of Shyam Sundar and Radhika are displaying their ecstatic love. Their effulgent complexions are beautifully bluish and golden. They dress in yellow and deep blue garments, and they attract each other by their inner moods of love. Abharana mani moya, patiyange abhinoya, tachupaya dina narotomudas, nishidina gunagana, paramanandapana manimura e abhilas. Decorated with jeweled ornaments, their limbs move with beautiful grace and drama like actors. Narottam Das prays, with great jubilation, I will glorify your transcendental qualities day and night. This is my only desire, or this is a desire of my mind. So we mostly focus on how this phrase, bhāva, bhūṣaṇa, kaustubha, and how the ornaments of Radha and Krishna are their bhāva. And it's this thing which attracts them to each other, antarera, bhāve, dūṅhu, lobhā. And it's that thing which attracts Radha and Krishna to their followers. Not just some incense offered or a lamp or something, but it's the bhāv that they're attracted to. And Narottam Das Thakur, he says that Abharana mani moya, I want to meditate on this, seeing Radha and Krishna with these decorations on him. I want to see them like this. Even though I'm Dina Narottam Das, Nishi Dina Gunagan Parama Anandapan, I want to drink this. I want to drink this nectar, which will keep me alive always. Nishidina Gunagan, I want to sing constantly, 24 hours a day. He says about the Gunagan, about the qualities of Radha and Krishna. But he's speaking about, someone may say, why is he not speaking about the qualities where he's speaking about the abharan, the ornaments? Because as we're hearing, Narottam Das Thakur is indicating, those ornaments are the personification of their qualities, which is something we've been speaking about today. Mani mora e abhilas. This is the only desire that I have, Narottam Das Thakur. So we'll go ahead and stop there. Hari-chandra Prabhu, nice to see you. You went all the way up to the very end. It was Hari-chandra Prabhu was here in Budapest this morning, along with Mataji, and they snuck out the door on their way back home. And we'll see everybody in a few days, I think, on the 12th or something, at Leela Purushottam Prabhu's place. So does anybody have any reflections you'd like to share about the subject matters, about the ornaments of Radha and Krishna?
Can I share something, Guru?
Yeah.
I appreciated how you were speaking about that their ornaments are their bhavas, and particularly you mentioned Krishna's peacock feather. It helped me to think like of it in a new way, about how we don't disturb the mood of Mahaprabhu. And now I understand a little bit more that peacock feather is Krishna's bhava, and so we don't just shove that onto.
Yeah, because now
Mahaprabhu.
Krishna wants to have the bhava of Radharani. He doesn't want his own bhava. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wants the bhava of Radha. And so he adopts her color, her complexion. You're down in your hidden room? Is that where you're at?
I was in the hidden room, and now I'm in the bedroom. I'm getting ready to go out, running around a little bit.
You're very fortunate. This is like the best years of your life, I think. Later on, you'll think.
Yeah,
get to spend some time with Roy Ram and Hari-Nam party in New York. I'm envious that you could do that. You're very, very fortunate.
And then I was thinking about what you're sharing some bhajan right at the end there about Radharani, and she's wearing a black stone necklace.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about, had you before in the past, when you were speaking, I think you remember you were reading from that section of CC where Mahaprabhu speaks about being a Kapalika yogi.
Yes.
You cited this when you were speaking from that, maybe?
Yes. You have a good memory, yeah. Yeah, the Kapalika yogi subject is also connected very much with all this too. All of these things are all connected together. And they try
I'd like to hear
make
more about that from you. It's really confusing part.
Yeah, I'd like to get into that more. Maybe we'll do that sometime. I don't know, but it's not a light subject to jump into. All right, Hare Krishna. Anybody else want to share anything? Leela Purushottam Prabhu. I'm just going to keep putting faces up here so we can all see each other together. Okay, there's Gorni Tai Prabhu. Vikramakesha Prabhu doesn't want to let us see him. Agora Prabhu. There's Leela Purushottam. Prabhuji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's a wonder after today's talk that how much, because it's a wonderful impetus for meditations and but you know our altar here, and that we are trying to serve to the forms of Radha Shyam. So now my contemplation and meditation is what's the proper way to implement these meditations into the seva, into the like putting these. Maybe I'm too I don't know what word to use. Cynic. Like, because many of the decorations that we use for the deities are of rather it's not gold, jewels, and but these are like plastics and whatnot. And then you're considering, like, is these items that we are offering, could they in any way be meditated to be bhāva bhūṣaṇa? Like connecting the external with the internal. It makes it. That's my contemplation from today's.
Well, it depends on their bhāva. See, one problem that all of us have in the West in trying to understand Krishna consciousness, for the most part, I think we're not really Krishna conscious, but we're ISKCON conscious. And we spoke about this quite a lot. We're institutional conscious. And that was necessary by Srila Prabhupada because we didn't have any culture behind us, and we didn't really have any, there's no examples except for himself, and we can't just imitate him. And so Prabhupada gave us deity worship, and he gave rules, and he said certain things like, we should not offer real jewels to the deity, and we should not dress Krishna like he's in Vrindavan. We should not. We should dress Krishna like he's Lord Narayan, and that in a mood of opulence. And that's okay. Prabhupada said that. But at the same time, Prabhupada never installed deities of Lakshmi Narayan. And if really our mood was Lakshmi Narayan, then why did he install Radha Govinda and Radha Shamsundar and et cetera, so many Radha-Krishna deities all over the world? So one thing, again, it's confusing because we can, a lot of times for us, our Krishna consciousness means ISKCON consciousness. We're conscious of the society. And that's helpful. I don't mean to say that in a negative way, that's the best most of us can do. But when we begin to understand and read and see understand what Narottam Das Thakur is seeing, and what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is seeing, and others, I think there's some legality to dressing the deities in that way. But we may not do that in the institutional temple because that's not the proper place for it, but your house might be. In our house, we can do something. In Puri, we sing certain songs. We do sometimes we put gopis on the altar and stuff, and that's just not legal in a lot of places. But we don't care because this is our own little home thing. So that we can do that there. So those ornaments, they're all bhāv in the sense that when we offer them, we should be, what we're offering is the bhāv. It's not that Radha and Krishna are dancing in the Ras Leela and they say, well, hey, Leela Purushottam's getting ready to put some plastic necklace on us, so let's get down there so we can accept the plastic necklace. They're not in a big rush to come down and accept some plastic necklace, but they want to accept that bhāv ornament. And ultimately, even we're not even offering it really directly to them, but we're doing it on behalf of our guru. And when we're serving our guru and assisting our guru in that way, then he becomes pleased, he or she becomes pleased and puts in a good word through the internet of the heart to Radha and Krishna. Yeah, you bless this personality, and then we have some divine vision. It's also why, for me, I like personally to use semi-precious stones, because those have some purport to them, or even better than that, just these simple seeds that the village ladies in Braj sometimes put on a needle and thread, which is gunja-mala, which are practically, have no value, materially speaking. But Krishna loves us so much. And if you may recall what we wrote about the origin of gunja-mala, why gunja is more, why Krishna wears that instead of pearls. Krishna, in the Passion Mukta Charit, he grew pearls. And the gopis, they grew gunja. And they grew this poisonous kind of plant. But that gunja is more dear to Krishna than the pearls, because it's a personified love of the gopis. And so when we decorate, we like to decorate Krishna with those things that remind him of Radharani. We like to put a yellow dhoti on him. We like to put a blue sari on Radharani when we can. We like to put dark stones on Radharani. And we like to put some golden colored things on Krishna and some kaustubha jewel or something, remind him of Radharani, like that. Is that helpful?
Yeah, very much. Yeah. For me, it will be like contemplation. How do I connect this at least desire for that inner meditation coming from such a beautiful meditations of Narottam Das Thakur with my external archana, with my what do I do, the procedure of my worship when I decorate them, and then so that's for me what will be my I don't know how to say task, not task really, but what drives me now to figure out how can I connect these two.
These ornaments,
being inspired by the inner, and being able to project it into external also.
These ornaments of Radha and Krishna, there's such a deep purport to it. Every year around Christmas time, this year it came up where, I saw on Facebook somewhere, somebody posted some picture of their Gopal deity dressed up like Santa Claus. And it was on like a Hindu page. And all the Hindus became furious. And they're kind of Hindu Vaishnavas. And they became furious. It really upset them. And when we dress the deity, Ayendra Prabhu used to like to dress Radhashyam Sundar. And sometimes you get in trouble when you dress the deity. They'll say, Prabhu, that's too intimate. You can't dress like this. And the ornaments that we're offering, those ornaments it's a group activity of the gopis and the Sakhi Manjaris coming together to dress Radharani. It's a group expression of their feelings, how they see Radharani. And therefore we become upset if we see Krishna dressed like Santa Claus. We become upset in Vrindavan. Once some Delhiwala came and offered the pujaris what's the temple? You may remember the story. Biggest temple in Vrindavan.
Banki Bihari.
Yeah. He offered them some money to the pujari that you put jeans on Krishna, and give him a cell phone and no flute. And because it was a nice donation, nice offer, the Pujari did that. And what happened in Vrindavan, they freaked out. And they started burning tires. That's what they do when they really get upset in Vrindavan. They burn tires and they block the roads and everything. And they did a bun. They closed the whole town down. Why they're so upset about that? Some religious sociologists may, what are they so upset about? Because they have a group vision of how Krishna should be dressed. And those ornaments that he wears are ornaments and manifestations of love. And therefore it becomes difficult in an institution when we're trying to dress the deities to please everybody, and we have to do it in a certain way. Just like if you see Shivaram Maharaj, how he decorates Radha Damodar privately. I know he got in trouble by the deity department when they came to New Brajadam years ago. Some of the things they were doing, better not even talk about it. And they asked him, Maharaj, don't do this. And so he stopped. But he still does it with Radha Damodar because that's his private worship. And Radha Shamsundar also, they get away with a lot of things you wouldn't get away with in Mayapur or Los Angeles or New York or something, because they're all followers of Shivaram Maharaj. Okay?
Yeah. Actually, I just recently shared with Jayagora nice memory of I went through some kathas of Manidi Maharaj, old kathas before his Babaji Vesh, and he was remembering how he discussed practically this topic actually with Indra Prabhu. And he shared like what Indra Prabhu told him, that when he's dressing Radha Shyamasundar, that he's meditating, like he's asking Radharani, what would you like me to decorate Shyamasundar so that you like him, so that he to your liking.
That's ecstatic. I thought you were going to say he was asking Radharani, how should I decorate you? But much more ecstatic, how should I decorate Krishna? And then he can ask,
it was like
how should
interchangeable.
And Krishna, how should I decorate Radharani? That's perfect. That's ecstatic.
That was very nice. Okay, thank you so much. That's my today's meditation.
All right, nice meditation. 𝗗𝗏𝗏 Prabhu, it's getting late there. You have something you want to share? You're back in Mayapur now, or you're still in Braj?
Yes. Today I arrived. So I wanted to share my experience last month practically, when I visited Hungary, and then I have a very nice feeling when I went out to Sankirtan and how people reacted to my feelings. It was quite different experience, because I didn't wanted to get some big money or sell books like that, but I wanted to ask Krishna, please send me someone who wants something spiritual. And I met so beautiful persons. And okay, so that's one thing. When we were on Sankirtan, you find people are reacting to your heart, not what you say. And also then I came out from Hungary, being in the West, and then I visited practically holy dams only. First Vrindavan, and Vrindavan have different mood than Govardhan, and different devotees are worshipping their murtis by their heart, and then meeting the people on the street and looking their eyes. They dress the same almost, but they look so different. And then from Vrindavan, I went to Echo Chakra. And that's an amazing, beautiful mood. How people are like one big family. And then coming again to Mayapur. So I think that's very important to learn with our heart, not by our understanding, consciousness, or speculation, or remembrance. No, just close out all these things and just use your heart. And maybe it's not a developed heart, not a soft heart, but still it's your heart. And if you try that, you see a different world. We start to understand Krishna as he appears in the Dhamma, through the Govardhan, through the birds, through the different persons, through the dogs, through the cows. So Krishna appears there, Krishna is there, but it's visible only for the heart, not for the eyes. So I think that we learn when we read these books, when we hear you, when we experience your faith. I was just the last retreat with Devaki Mataji, and she wanted to help us to get connection with the holy name, and she spoke a lot of very beautiful things. And sometimes for the beginners, she had to express some very simple things like technologies, how to keep awake. And then she mentioned something which I didn't agree, and I wanted to say no, I don't agree. What you are saying is not correct. Anything, the topic is not important. And then she didn't give me a chance to put a question or put a comment. And one moment later, the task was to share with our neighbors what we are bringing from all these programs. Like you generally ask some comments. So then I was thinking, what happened? I couldn't share, I couldn't give my comment, but it's not important. This Mataji put her heart into this program. This Mataji wanted us to have. This Mataji's intention was so pure. So I bring that one with me, not maybe something which she told is I don't agree. And I immediately forgot what I wanted to say. I just felt really appreciation for her. So the most important thing is we met each other and we met with each other faith. And that faith helped us to build a better faith in our heart, in our life. And that is the Sangha. Not necessarily the information, of course, but anything else, not so important. Just be together with this open heart. And then we are really getting so deep. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, I was thinking something I was actually going to mention too in connection with what Lila Purushottam was saying, that in this bhava bhūṣaṇa is a group thing too. We see the gopis, they dress Radharani together. And as a society, we also have a group bhava. But the problem is, a lot of times we don't really have a group bhava. It's just we're all together for the institution or for Prabhupada, and there's no real deep general meaning. And therefore, a lot of times the ornaments are plastic. And that's kind of, I think it's indicative of the depth of our vision. And therefore, it's very, very important that we function with small groups. Like you saw, Gaurani when you visited Lila Purushottam's place. They do all kinds of illegal things of deity worship and whatever, and or Radha-Krishna, things that we wouldn't do in the temple, but he can do because he's in a small group of devotees, and nobody's going to come and say, why the hell are you doing that? That's not bona fide. If they don't like him, they just don't come. And the people who do comes are people who like him. So it's really important, just as the gopis are coming together and they're dressing Radharani, and that particular group has a certain mood they like to dress her in, whereas the followers of Chandravali may have another mood and thing. we also should have our group mood. That's a really nice analogy you gave too about Devaki Mataji and things. I appreciate that, Prabhuji. Okay, anybody else with anything? Otherwise, I'm going to read some comments. Gauradas Prabhu just left. It looks like Karuna left also. Everybody's gone. I'll read Gauradas's thing. Obeisances to everyone. He has to go. It was so nice hearing about how a high-class relationship is based on the internal mood, which manifests as ornaments and so many other things for Radha and Krishna. Very beautiful, Hari Krishna. And Karuna commented, Hari Krishna, thank you for the class. It was beautiful to hear about the ornaments of Radha, ornaments of the bhāva of Radha and Krishna for each other. I am in baby duty, but I would like to share my reflection. You mentioned how Bahiranga and Antarmukh, that we forget sometimes our bhāva, which Krishna is really interested in, and we focus on the externals like a gold-plated lamp or something. I feel it sometimes hard to focus on the bhāva. I feel like our focus is on numbers, a number of books distributed, number of devotees made, number of rounds chanted, number of times a Bhagavatam's been read, number of acres of temples, and it might externally seem like that's what pleases Guru. So in the effort of pleasing Guru, we're mostly for my own, for selfish pratis, these internal bhavas forgotten, and it's a rat race for numbers. So sanghas like this, I'm a constant reminder to focus on bhav helps a lot to realign. Question is, what will make it easier to go internal? The sangha, when we come and we associate on the basis of what Rupa Goswami says and what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, because their writings are their bhav. That's such a very, very important thing. That's what we're all there for. But in the beginning, we don't have any bhav, but we have some reflection of a bhav. We have some desire to please Guru, and Guru sees that we're very passionate. So he says, do big numbers. I want you to collect lots of money. I want you to distribute lots of books and this thing and that thing. And so we go out trying to do big numbers. But the really important thing is Krishna is not, as we saw that there's a title of a movie, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Krishna is a vegetarian. He's not interested in body snatchers. He wants us to snatch hearts from people, like Gorni Taipabu was saying, that he's thinking he wants to go out in book distribution, but not so much important for how many numbers he does, but for quality, to be there for people who want us. And that's a much more mature thing. But a lot of times in the beginning, we don't have that. We don't have that bhav. We can imitate that. And sometimes, like small children, we imitate some mood like that. But it requires some maturity. It requires some time, even just to have confidence in who I am as an individual and going out and sharing things. That's a big thing. Jai Gaur, my feeling is that the institution group, bhav, caters to the lowest common denominator. Yep, it's the plastic. So it's watered down heavily, if it's even there. Like public school classes teaching 30 kids at one time. Vikram Keshi Prabhu. Vikram was tired and went to sleep. Listen, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So, all right, nice to see everybody. Anybody else have anything? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and stop. And let's see, next week, where are we going to be next week? Today's the 27th. Next week will be the 3rd. We'll still be here in Budapest. Gwanita, you had something else?
Yeah, I just want to thank you very much, this topic. Like last time, this beautiful explanation of what is the meaning of different jewels and different dresses. It's so important to focus on that deep meaning, which we never know if you or other, if you don't read it from some beautiful Vaishnavas. It's very important to listen to that topic. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I wish I have no feelings. I just have attraction for material energy. That's all that I have, and that's a fact. But by associating with Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Narottam Das Thakur and hearing, then we can, wow, you mean somebody's not just attracted to a woman's breasts and excuse me for being a crude American. Somebody's actually attracted, they're thinking about Radha and Krishna. That's amazing. We need to hear that. It's so very, very important. And we need to see that. That's also very important. So thank you very much, Vanitai, Lila Purushottam Prabhu, Jai Gauri. Let's go ahead and stop now. Srila Narottam Das Thakur ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol, Vanchakalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam